we just got done reviewing The Night Manager, which was a series that came out on Hotstar on Hulu. Highly recommend you go watch it. It is an Indian adaptation of the book The Night Manager, which was a British novel. In fact, if you actually go and want to buy the book now, you'll see the cover of this movie on the book. So big hit, highly recommend. We're going to transition into a movie that came out on Z5. This movie is called Lost. It's, from what I hear, Em, a pretty short movie. Is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't long. Actually, it was like around less than 2 hours, so it wasn't such a big stretch. Of course, and yeah, it's actually a thought-provoking movie, but it adds a lot. And sometimes I thought it stretched a bit. I was really looking forward to watching another Yami Gautam movie because she's such a brilliant actress, but also most hot list guy. This guy's been on my hot list for Connor's 15 years or so. His name is Rahul Khanna. And oh my God, he's in this movie. And Michael, I was just waiting for his scenes because he's such a sophisticated actor. But yes,
Yep.
Lost. What is it about? What kind of message does it have? Did we like it? Did we not? Let's go deep into that. So this movie says that it's inspired by true events, but it's not inspired by one event. It's just inspired by a lot of events that have happened where um, you know, um, there's been sudden disappearances of people, and the movie lays it out at the beginning when the credits are rolling that every day there are several people missing in India, and these people go missing with no trace of where they went. So, so this story is of a young woman, and she's a crime reporter, Yami Gautam, and she's working on a story of a sudden disappearance of a young theater activist who's played by Tushar Pandey. Now, this layered story aims to represent the idea of lost values and integrity at some point in time, and then it layers it with casteism, um, casteism, and then bigotry and the economic value system and dirty politics. So there are a lot of layers in the story as we go deep into it. But the whole thing is, will the crime reporter be able to get to the bottom of the crime? And if she does, if she's honest to her trade and craft, will she be able to publish the right story? Because there are so many angles to this. Now, you know, I like Yami Gautam a lot, and she's picking up some good characters. The last movie I watched for her was the Thursday on Hotstar Hulu, and I thought that was a really nice movie. She played this mentally imbalanced person who really who wants to take revenge for something that happened with her, but then she takes hostage. She's a nursery school teacher. She takes her entire class as hostage, and people can't figure out why the hell she did it. She's so nice. So I think she did a good job here. There are some scenes that she has with her grandfather, played by Pankaj Kapoor, who's such an amazing actor. And those scenes were really gold, by the way. Really liked it. She so over here she's pretty fierce. She stands up to everybody. She's vocal about things that she does, and she gets threats for all the cases that she follows because people are trying to subdue her voice, but she doesn't care. She literally goes in the face of all the threats. The good part is that her grandfather has also been a crime reporter, so he knows how dangerous it is to be a crime reporter in India. And this is all based on Kolkata, actually, another state in India, in eastern India, which borders West Bengal, borders Bangladesh. So they live there. They have an amazing relationship, but they're not scared of all the threats. So that was a really welcome change, because normally they show people getting blackmailed into silence, but that doesn't happen here. She fiercely goes after her story and tries to figure out what exactly is happening. And even her grandfather was pretty well played. Then Raul Khanna, which I wanted to talk to you about. This man is so ageless. He
Okay.
probably looks the same that he looked like 15 years ago. In fact, he looks better. He's like fine wine. He
Yep.
did a movie 20 years back called Bollywood Hollywood, and gosh, I don't see any difference from Raul Khanna in Bollywood Hollywood 20 years back and Raul Khanna today. He has the same suave screen presence, and he is a corrupt politician in this movie. and he's a criminal mastermind. He is so good at it. He's so good at it that, oh my God, he'll never get off our hot list. Definitely never. There's a specific scene here where he's given an interview. He's being interviewed by Yami Gautam's character, and he stands out because of the way he just not only she asks him questions, he manipulates the answers. And I thought that was a really well written scene because of the way the manipulation came through. And literally, he leaves the reporter at her wits' ends because the reporter can't figure out what to ask because they're going to lose ends in his answers. And
Sure.
his performance through that scene, oh my God, I would give him an Oscar just for that scene because it, he looked every bit of that manipulative politician. Then Tushar Pandey plays the guy who disappears, but he doesn't have a lot of scenes, so we don't see a lot of him. Neil
Sure.
Bupalam, who plays Yami Gautam's boyfriend here, and he's trying to be protective about her, telling her to stop working because she's getting death threats, and people are landing up at her house, threatening her grandfather, and he's a good actor, but massively underutilized again. Then there's Pia Banerjee's character, which is so confusing. Does she love the guy? Does she not love the guy? The guy who went missing? Is she married to the politician? Why does the politician have interest in her in the first place? She could find anybody else. So all those things are very confusing in the movie. So I think um, Aniruddha Roy Choudhury, sorry, it was Shanti Moitra is the music director of the movie. The director is Aniruddha Roy Choudhury. He's the guy who also directed Pink. Now, it's very difficult to figure out what this movie was. What was the attempt that he was trying to make with this movie? Was it a story about the lost person? Was it a story about missing people? Was it a story about caste and how people of lower caste, because the guy who went missing was a lower caste guy, was it that attitude towards those people as being indispensable? What was the movie about is very confusing. He builds a story and then he kind of forks it into five different issues, which kind of even the climax didn't make sense. Right, I can't give you what the climax was for the movie, what the real story was, and why the guy went missing. But even that didn't make sense in the whole picture, and it seemed like open ended. And I need an essay literally to figure out what the ending really meant,
Yeah.
from the perspective of storytelling. And the writing isn't bad, actually. Some of the scenes, as I said, were very spectacular, but that was in patches. We love an underdog story. Audiences always love how the powerless grab the power and come on top of things. And, all of those things could have happened here in a very big way, but they just don't happen. So that's why the cinematography, by the way, I have to say, is pretty good because there's this Kolkata sepia. I call it Kolkata sepia, which shows everywhere. The cinematography is they've used the city fantastically. There's a dark side to the city, so the dark colors. I said the how they show crime in darker colors, how they show the political underbelly, and all those. And the outer locales are really noisy. They're India. They're full of color and full of people and full of activity. So visually, the movie is really, really, really good. And
Yep.
but somehow I just got confused about the story. But
Yep.